we doing?
Morning.
Morning. Morning. Morning.
In the repair shop today, Dom gets tough on rust.
It uses the electrical current from the 12-volt car battery charger to sort of push the rust away. Look at that.
And Steve gets a very fab fix.
I've done some research on this yellow submarine, and the top here, there were some periscopes, one for each of the Beetles.
Jay is eagerly awaiting the first visitor, Howard Bird from Broxburn in Hertfordshire.
Hi, Jay.
How we doing, Howard? You all right?
Fine, yes, thank you.
Come on in.
He's hoping art conservator Lucia Scalisi can revive a regal portrait that's looking less than majestic.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Lucia. Hi.
You've got to tell us about this painting. It looks amazing.
It's a portrait of Queen Henrietta,
Right.
who's the Queen of Charles I. And she's in mourning after her husband had had his head chopped off.
Well, so it's an important painting then.
You know, this is 1600s.
What? That's when it was painted?
Yeah.
Charles I was given the chop in 1649, so it's after 1649.
It's impressive, Lucia, isn't it?
It's amazing. I've never seen a portrait of her specifically as a widow.
And yeah, so you've got this
That beautiful,
brooch,
of Charles I.
and the band here with the ring.
With the
so-
ring, which is a signifier of widowhood. It's quite unusual, but it's really quite lovely.
I've known this painting for over 40 years. It belonged to a good friend of mine.
Right.
And on his passing, he wanted me to have it.
What was his name?
He's Eric.
Eric. So where did Eric get it from? Do you know?
He purchased it from an art dealer friend of his in the 60s.
So did Eric collect more artwork, or was this
Yeah,
the, you know?
lots of artefacts, you know, Japanese urns and burial things and other paintings, but this was his favourite.
Where did you and Eric meet?
I moved next door to Eric in 1980.
Right.
And I was in the garden, and his wife, Ruby, put her head over the fence, and she went, "Oh, hello, who are you?"
Yeah.
So I said, "I'm your new neighbour." Went in and met Eric.
Yeah.
We just became very close friends very quickly. I spent more time in their home than I did next door on my own.
That's quite amazing. That's
Lovely.
more than neighbours and more than friends.
We just became like a family. I was a single guy, and they just took me under their wing. I think they probably always wanted to have a son, and that's why, you know, we just became very close.
Yeah. So when did Eric pass away?
2016.
Okay.
Yeah. The last couple of years of his life, you know, I was his main carer. We used to have long chats, and Henrietta, she always used to come up, and Eric started to say that, you know, he'd always liked to have it cleaned and never really got round to it. He died at 84, when he was 84.
Right.
I can't-
It's okay. It's okay.
I cared for it right to the end, so
Yeah.
I just loved him.
Yeah. You can tell that. You see that you miss them both as well.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. I'm just hoping that if he's looking down and he sees Lucia's work on it, then he'll be happy.
Yeah. Howard, thank you for bringing us in.
Thank you,
Yeah.
and thank you, Lucia.
My pleasure.
You take care now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
When I look at the painting, I just think of my 40 years with Eric as a friend and kind of like a father figure. I just loved him to bits, and his wife, you know, just loved them. I think Eric would be very proud of me to take on his wishes and finally get Henrietta back to the beautiful woman that she is.
There's a lot of overpaint on this painting, so there could be a lot of original paint under this that has just been covered up. There could also be a lot of damage under this, and until I start cleaning, I won't really get an idea of what's going to happen. So I'm going to do some cleaning tests. I'll do them, first of all, in the flesh areas, because these are relatively tough areas of paint. I'm going to use my distilled water that has in it a drop of ammonia. And just make sure it's not too strong. It'll just be taking surface dirt off this. Oh, yeah, and that is definitely going to clean quite nicely. So I'm now going to do a varnish clean. test. Use a hydrocarbon solvent. I'm going to go into the area that I just did the surface clean, see what comes off with this. Look at that. This is varnish. All those little lumps, yellow lumps, that's just varnish shriveling up. But underneath, it's actually pink flesh. That is gorgeous. I'm going to do a whole surface clean to take off all the surface dirt first and then go back and take off the varnish. I don't know what we're going to end up with. It is a bit nerve-wracking.
Dom, you'll come and see this. Come here. Look at that.
Wow,
It's nice, isn't it?
that looks beautiful.
This antique sewing machine is a cherished heirloom to Kathleen Lewis from Cheshire, and she's hoping metalwork expert Dominic Chenier can get it up and running again.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Now this is a beautiful. We've just been admiring this. It is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I want to take the box off, though. Can I have a look?
You certainly can.
Thank you. I'm dying to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at that.
That.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
How have you got this?
It belonged to my nan. She
Okay.
was born in 1893 and she started to work for the dressmaker's shop, and this was the machine she used in the shop. And then when she reached 21, they gave it to her.
Wow. Well, she must have been good. Was she really good?
She was absolutely fantastic, yes. Sadly, I didn't know her. She died before I was born, but I know she also made my mum's wedding dress on this.
That's brilliant. I know she passed before you could meet her, but do you know anything about her?
She got married in 1914 in May.
Okay.
And by October, she was widowed. He was killed in France, and she never married again. But she always managed to keep her and my mum going, and
Yeah.
she must have worked really hard. This was important. It was my nan's life, really. So after my nan died, my mum had it, and it always sat in our front room. I wasn't supposed to, but I used to go in and play with it a lot and fiddle about with it.
Okay.
And then eventually I went into the sewing trade, making very posh suits and overcoats.
Oh,
Have
cool.
you? Have you ever used it
No.
properly, or so you've never made anything
Never
on
been
it?
able to, no.
Never been able to. Wow.
When was the last time this was used then?
To be honest, I couldn't tell you. Whether it would actually sew again, I don't know. And I just want to be able to use it.
So when you look at the sewing machine now, what kind of memories does it conjure up?
I mean, it's, like I say, it's my childhood in the front room.
Yeah.
And my mum, she's not with me anymore.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It's just,
Good memories.
yeah. I think my mum would have been pleased to see it being used again.
So how would you like it to look?
Just want the woodwork so that it's not falling to pieces anymore.
Okay.
But I mean, where it's worn, it's obviously where my nan's been using it. That's her. That's part of it.
Yeah.
So just to be able to use it.
Well, I can't wait to get the team started on this one. Kathleen, thank you for bringing this in.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care now.
And you. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's proper, isn't it?
It is a proper sewing machine.
This sewing machine is the only thing I've got that belonged to my nan. To be able to have it looking like it used to do, it will bring my nan into my house, and my mum will be back there as well. It's all I've got left.
This is going to be an interesting one.
It is.
Yeah.
So, what I was thinking, get Will on the wood, because Kathleen doesn't want it looking shiny.
Yeah, once I've got it all apart, if Will can tackle the woodwork, that'd be fantastic.
No problem, I'll have a word.
Brilliant.
Yeah? No problem.
There's me thinking, it's not as bad as it looks, you know. Once I've cleaned this up, it'll be OK. And I've just peered inside there, and already the bobbin holder is broken. I think I'm best off get this thing apart, then I can really have a look at what I'm working with. Look at that. I don't think there's any way I can sandblast all this paint off. It's so rare to get something this age in holding its original paint. It's beautiful. With a little polish, that's going to come up so nice.
Having spent hours carefully removing the dirt, overpaint and varnish on the painting of Queen Henrietta Maria,
Right.
Lucia can finally assess its condition.
I'm back down to the original paint layers, and it's fantastic. There's more of the original there than I thought there might be. All the background was overpainted in a black paint, and even her dress has been painted black. But in actual fact, it's a dark grey satin colour with these red flashes in the sleeve. It's absolutely beautiful. The varnish that's going on will be its first coat of modern synthetic varnish. It's called high saturation, so I can get a good colour match when I'm retouching. The first coat of varnish goes on before retouching because it provides an isolating layer between anything that I put on the painting and the original paint layer. It will last, you know, a few generations, but it will always remain reversible. So whoever comes to this in the future will be able to take this off without any effect. And that's it. I can leave the varnish to dry now, and then I'll be able to start my retouching. I'm retouching the losses. Just changing my palette as I go along, but I'm basically mixing a lead white with an ivory black and then mixing in some yellow ochre here and there. It's working quite well at the moment. Being so close, I'm actually starting to see things that you don't see initially. The big thing is I'm actually starting to see the shape of the body and the dress, and basically, she's pregnant. So the positioning of her hands in portraiture is usually an indication of her state of pregnancy. So this means she was last pregnant in 1644, and she would have been about 36 at this time. Charles I died in 1649, so that suggests that this bracelet with this rather large gold ring hanging on it, it's a later edition. The portrait has been modified to signify widowhood. I'm so thrilled with this painting. It's so exciting to work on. It's a real find, you know? Things like this don't come through very often. They just don't. They don't survive the test of time.
Next, Hannah Clive from London is bringing a piece of rock and roll history to the barn.
She is.
Hello.
Hello.
It's the perfect gig for mechanical maestro Steve Fletcher.
I've got something in my pocket for you.
Oh, well, that's
And
tiny.
it's a little yellow submarine.
Submarine?
How come you've got this?
Well, this belonged to and was given to my dad, the television and film actor, John Clive.
Right.
He, amongst other parts that he did, voiced John Lennon in the Yellow Submarine film.
Oh, my goodness.
What? So how come he did that? How come he voiced him then?
They got various different actors in to do the parts because the Beatles weren't doing these speaking parts. And he was given this on the night of the premiere in 1968.
Oh, wow.
What else did he do? What other films
Oh,
was
he
he
did
in?
the Italian Job and
Oh,
did
wow.
the Carry-On films, a couple of Carry-On films. My dad was an all-rounder. He could sing and dance and write and act and do all of those things. And he was always making us laugh when we were children, you know, constantly making us laugh.
Did you remember playing with this then?
I do. I used to play with this when I was a little girl, in the bath and on the carpet in the hall,
Okay.
and running it up and down. And then I watched the film over and over and over, and that influenced my entire career choice. And I went on into music and performing like my dad. So without this little yellow submarine, I wouldn't do what I do.
So how long have you had this?
My father passed back in 2012.
Okay.
But, yeah, not long before he passed, he said to me, Han, I want you to have this. And he put this in my hands because he knew what the film meant to me. And yeah, that's why it's so precious to me.
So what would you like Steve to do to it?
It used to have 3 funnels that came out, and as you run it along, the funnels used to spin round, apparently. But I never saw them. I don't know whether my brother managed to accidentally remove those.
Right.
And these hatches, you press these buttons, and they're supposed to pop up, only they don't. There you are. And that's...
That's cool, yeah.
That's John, and I think that's Ringo. It's missing its propeller.
Okay.
And the paint's looking a bit sorry. I don't need it looking spick and span, because in a way, that's part of its life and its story.
Yeah.
But if there was anything you thought you could do, I'd be so grateful, Steve.
Okay.
Honestly.
Hannah, thank you for bringing this in and trusting us with this item. I can see that's very precious to you.
Thank you very much.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Yellow Submarine represents my dad to me and everything that my dad managed to do in his career, and I'm very proud of that. It's important that the Yellow Sub be preserved for our family. As a performer myself, it's like the family Olympic torch, if you like.
I love the fact that this was presented to John at the premiere of the film. I was brought up with the Beatles, so it's fantastic that I'm working on this. It's quite well made. It's a good, solid metal body on it, but the paintwork has really faded. There are lots of chips, especially over the hatches there, so I think I might need Lucia's help in touching those up. Then I need to make a propeller because she remembers the propeller being there. The thing that I'm really worried about is that she said there are funnels that come out of the top here, so I'll have to do a bit of research. There's a couple of springs that are supposed to spring the hatches, and I think the springs are seized up, and that's just preventing them to move easily. So I will just take this apart, and then I can see what's inside and what I'm up against. Just going to gently grind off the rivets. Good. Let's see what we've got in here then. The problem is that these levers that are sort of actuating levers for the hatches are slightly bent, and just 1 millimetre of bend makes all the difference to the way it works. So I'll just take this over to the lathe and see if I can get it straightened up. So you can see now just how much out of true it is, and I need to straighten them all up, and I'm hoping it's going to be as simple as that.
Less rock and roll, more heavy metal. Dom's been considering the best way to revive the ironwork of the old sewing machine.
Alongside the surface rust, there's an awful lot of original black paint, which is beautiful, and I really, really, really don't want to have to sandblast all this off. I'm just trying to remove the surface rust. Electrolysis is a brilliant way to do that. It uses the electrical current from the 12-volt car battery charger to sort of push the rust away, and the water has gone a really nice swampy brown colour, which is a good sign. So I'm going to flick that off, and I'm going to have a look. Look at that, you can see this lovely, this grey colour. All of these pieces were completely brown and rusty, much like these bits that haven't been in there yet. I think that is enough of a confirmation for me that this is the process I'm going to use for the rest of these pieces.
This sewing table is probably the driest sewing table I've ever seen. It needs a lot of love. There's some veneer lifting on the top here. I think that's where water has hit the surface, got underneath the veneer and raised off the wood underneath. Hopefully this should be quite a straightforward fix. Just some wood glue and a clamp should get that nice and flat again.
All of the structural frame parts of Kathleen's sewing machine table are outside, bubbling away in their electrolysis tank. So I thought I'd bring the sewing machine inside so I can actually take this apart and see if I can get this thing working. I've got to be so careful, these screws are so small. Now I've got that big side cover off, I can really see a lot more of what's happening in there. It's dry, but actually, there's really nothing bad at all. The bobbin holder is broken, that's one thing I'm definitely gonna have to deal with. But other than that, hopefully, it's just gonna be a clean and a really good oil.
There are lots of missing patches of veneer on all of the drawers. I think I found a really good match here. The colour is quite light, but the grain is a perfect match. Now that's quite brittle, and the problem with that is, it's gonna be really hard for me to bend that round the corner without that breaking. So I'm gonna use a small pot of warm water. And the idea here is that you soak the veneer. And already I can feel it's starting to soften up. I'm gonna now clamp that in place around that curved edge, leave it to dry. And once it has, it should dry in the exact same shape that I need it to.
This is great. I've got this bobbin holder out. I can get that replaced. Whilst I've got the machine in so many pieces, I can get right inside now so I can give it all a really good clean.
Well, I've taken off the clamps and the wetting and the clamping of the veneers really worked out well. There's a great sort of L shape there. I'm gonna glue that in with some wood glue now, with some clamps, a few blocks of wood, and that will then keep that in position whilst it dries and prevent it from pinging back out to that flat shape again. Well, the glue has now dried and the veneer is ready for colour matching. So I'm going to use some sort of burnt umber and black pigments mixed with some shellac polish to mix up the colour that I need. The new patch is blended in beautifully with the surrounding veneer. I'm going to leave that to dry, and whilst it is drying, I can now tackle the other 3 drawers.
With Lucia's skillful restoration of the pregnant Queen's portrait almost complete, the crowning glory is reuniting it with its frame.
I'm quite excited about this, actually. I'll just fit her with these brass mirror plates, which will only ever be fitted to the frame, so there's never anything attached to the painting. Great, that's a really snug fit. Good, she's very secure. Let's have a look. I think Howard's going to be blown away when he sees this. I hope he is, because I was.
This 17th century portrait is not only a symbol of love between a king and queen, but also of a devoted friendship. Now Howard's returned with husband Dennis in the hope that Lucia's managed to bring his late friend's favourite artwork out of the darkness.
Eric said he's always wanted to get his portrait restored, and unfortunately never did. It's always been a dark picture, and you had to just catch it in the right light to see anything on it.
Most of the painting was just shades of black, so it definitely needed a good overhaul.
I'm just hoping that it's going to look lovely.
Hello.
How you doing, Howard?
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
This is my husband, Dennis.
How you doing, Dennis?
Very well, thank you.
Howard, how you feeling?
I just cannot wait to see what's been done. Eric, very important in my life, and always has been. I'm hoping now that I've fulfilled his wishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Lucia.
Ready?
Wow. Well done.
Can't believe it.
Perfect job.
Yes. He'd be so happy to see this. God, just look at the... Can't believe it. Really can't believe it. Never seen her like this.
Yeah.
Never seen it like this. You know, 40 years, she's just been in a smog.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, the colours, the vibrancy in that that's come back. She's beautiful. Thank you.
It's been absolutely spectacular to work on this painting. When you brought it in, Howard, you said you thought it was her in mourning. As I worked on it and took all the overpaint off, several things became obvious, and one of them was she was pregnant at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the later additions to indicate that she's a widow were added afterwards, yeah.
I would have never, ever realised that. Amazing story.
It's very special.
Very special to us.
Yeah. How do you think Eric would think of it now?
Well, he wouldn't be lost for words, because he never was.
That's true.
He would think it's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be looking down and admiring it, I'm sure. I knew that Lucia would do a good job, but not as good as what it's come back as. It's fabulous, absolutely fabulous. Henrietta is going to go back to her pride of place. We walk past her every day, and it will just be so fantastic to see her, how she was meant to be viewed.
With the bent levers and the yellow submarine's pop-up hatch mechanism straightened and fixed in place,
Brilliant. It works better than I thought it would.
Steve's turning his attention to the other tiny fixtures and fittings.
One of the next jobs I've got to do is I've got to make a propeller. This really does have to look the part, although it's not actually driving the boat at all. So I've got a piece of plastic, and I'm going to turn this into a propeller. I'm just going to cut around to make the circle. There we go. I can pop this into the lathe and turn a perfect circle. Quite unusual that I work with plastic. I'm usually working with brass and steel, and so I hope this is going to work. Good. Now I'll cut the blades out and shape them. Just going to pop on the propeller. Perfect. I've done some research on this yellow submarine, and the top here, there were some periscopes. Hannah remembered them as funnels, but they are actually 4 periscopes coming out, 1 for each of the beetles. And as you push this along, the periscopes turn round. So I've done some sketches and worked out the sizes. I just need to set 2 now and make 4 of them. I've got a 2-part epoxy putty. You have to make sure it's really well mixed because the 2 parts react with each other to start making it go hard. And if there are any parts that aren't mixed, you'll get those little soft parts. Right, let's have a go at making a periscope. I'm going to make the top first. Then the main body of the periscope, I need to make 6 millimeters in diameter. Hopefully, when I've reshaped it a bit, it's going to look all right. But yeah, it's a periscope, isn't it? Just going to leave that there and get on with the other 3 now. Right, that's great. That's all ready to take over to Lucia to do the paintwork. There we go. Here's the yellow submarine.
Oh, Steve. Is it working now?
Yeah, press those little things.
Oh, my goodness. That's good. The periscopes are good.
Thank you.
What did Hannah expect from the...
She just wants a sympathetic touching up.
Perfect. We can do that.
I knew you'd like that.
Thanks, Steve. The ultimate goal is to get rid of where your eye is attracted to the damage. I actually want to use acrylic paints. They're going to be very reversible. I don't want to use a metal paint on this because if it ever comes off, it could be damaging to the original paint. I'm using a cadmium red hue for the red, and it's a really good colour match, and also the body of the paint is quite opaque, so it's covering the metal up really nicely, so I'm very pleased with that. But I can't get that with the yellow. The yellows are too translucent. To build up a level of colour will be too many layers, it will be just too thick. So that's complicated. So what I'm trying to do now is just block that out with a titanium white paint, and then I'll put the yellow on top of that. Even though it's a tiny object, I've got quite a way to go.
Outside, Dom's been contending with a much larger assignment, but he's just about ready to start reassembling all the elements of the antique sewing machine.
I've got a replacement for the damaged part that holds the bobbin. Really good. It's a nice original piece as well, so I know that it's going to work. I just need to get it all back together now in the right order. First piece on, first of many. It's just such a fiddly job. I've got tiny, small screws and these springs, and everything's got to go back in exactly the right place. And if I get it, you know, like a width of cotton wrong, it just won't sew and it won't work. This is it, the last piece. So nice to get the inside of this machine all buttoned up. I'll just get the machine threaded up now, double check it's all stitching perfectly, and then it's ready to go back to Kathleen.
For seamstress Kathleen, this machine is the link between her and the dressmaker grandmother she never met.
I'm feeling really excited, a bit nervous as well, because the most important thing to me was that I'd be able to actually use the sewing machine again.
Hello.
Hello.
Lovely to see you again.
And nice to see you again too.
Hi, Kathleen. I'm Will. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
So, Kathleen, how have you been without your sewing machine?
I just can't wait to get it home. I really can't wait.
Aw.
I wished I'd have been able to do this while my mum was still here.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Be nice to have shown her. Good. Come on, Will.
Shall we have a look?
Come on.
Please.
Okay, here we go.
It's beautiful. Oh, my word. Oh, that is absolutely gorgeous. It's just like when I was about 5 years old. It's got that colour back.
Yeah.
And the drawers. It's amazing. Thank you both so much. One big question. Does it work?
So, you've never actually used this to actually sew anything? Take a seat on this. There's some fabric in the top left drawer. Well, it suits you, seeing you sitting there at it. That's it. Once you get going, there we go, there we go. That's it, you're off.
Oh, my word.
Well
I can't
done.
believe it.
Well done.
It's absolutely wonderful.
Bang on, that's perfect.
Oh, goodness me. Oh, I do wish Mum could see me.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
She'd be happy, I think.
Chuffed to bits. Well, thank you both so much. I really, really appreciate it.
It's been brilliant. You're more than welcome. It's been a pleasure.
Bye-bye now.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Ah, well done, mate.
To sit at that sewing machine and realise that my nan had sat there, it's touching things that she had and that my mum used, and now neither of them are here anymore. It brings them to me. It's lovely. It's a lovely feeling.
Fully immersed in her restoration of the yellow submarine and its figures of the Fab Four, Lucia is now blending in Steve's handiwork.
I painted the first coats of yellow on the periscope, and it's very difficult to get this colour match because the original paint has faded on the top and the yellow underneath is much more orangey, and try and get as good a colour match as I can. Fortunately, this red is straightforward. Yeah, I'm quite happy with the way that that's looking now. I'm going to put a bit more yellow in this, and then it will be ready to go back to Hannah.
This groovy little souvenir was a cherished childhood toy for Hannah, and a reminder of the remarkable career of her father, actor John Clive. Today, she's returned to collect it with her 16-year-old daughter.
It's really important for me to be here to collect my yellow sub with LMA. It's an heirloom that I very much want to pass on because we're very proud of Grandad, aren't we? Yeah. We're really looking forward to seeing what they've done.
It means a lot to me, as it does with my mum.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm very good, actually. You must be LMA.
Yeah.
Do you know how important this is to Mum?
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how it's changed.
Explaining to LMA on the way down, I'm sort of excited and nervous in equal measure. It's really important to me because it's all I've got of my dad. So it's really, yeah.
OK. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Can I touch it?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, Steve, what did you... That's amazing. I want to open the hatches, because this is what I've not been able to do for years. Should we do it together?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah! There they are!
They both finally come out at once.
Oh, wow. They tell. Oh, my God.
That is quality.
How cool is that?
That is proper cool.
Look, did you see Ella?
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
How amazing is
It's
that?
amazing.
Lucia has done all the paintwork.
Has she?
Yeah.
Oh, Lucia, you're a diamond. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Oh, how lucky are we? Do you know what? Grandad's looking down now,
Yeah.
and I can... Oh, you're very special. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
It's a real pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Take care to both of you.
Bye-bye now.
Fabulous. To see the little yellow sub back and gleaming, it's an overwhelming feeling. It's really, really special. I just wish my dad was here to be able to see it.